Hello everyone, this is Nitesh, and we are here with another game review. We're going to be doing something pretty recent this time. Today, we're going to be reviewing Mario Kart 8. Now, I know Nintendo is very big on the copywriting flag, so I'm not going to be including too much additional stuff here. But yeah, basically this is what Nintendo has needed with the Wii U. The Wii U was very poorly marketed. The Wii U, a lot of people for a good while just thought it was an add-on to the Wii, just some new controller. There were people who were really interested in what Nintendo wanted to do with the future, and they didn't even know the Wii U came out. They didn't really know what the Wii U was, because Nintendo did very little advertising for this. And, you know, this is the game that is gonna change it. You know, this is the big thing that's gonna push people over the edge of debating whether or not they want to get it. You know, I'm sure there's plenty of cases where people are just like, no, I wanna play this game, but I'm not sure I want to buy a Wii U just for this game. Okay, there's a couple of games that I kind of want to play, but I'm not really sure I actually want to shell out money for a whole new system just to play them. This game is gonna be different. You know, this is a game where there's no other option. It's only on the Wii U, and all the other little maybe games and Mario Kart 8. You don't need any better reason to pick up a Wii U now. Like, the Mario Kart games, there is such a strong nostalgia factor that this was already probably going to improve sales of the Wii U. But this game, coming from someone like me who is not a huge racing game fan, I barely played the other Mario Kart games. I'm trying to think, what's the last Mario Kart game we actually bought? I'm not sure. Other times we just rented it, because we were always just done with it so soon that it just made more sense to just rent. But this game, this is one of those games that is actually keeping the interest of everyone in this house. Like, my dad, not as much, because, well, primarily because he can't get the controller away from me and my brother. But let's just jump right into this. The gameplay. Now, a lot of racing games have the sort of rubber band AI, where no matter how well you're doing, it's always like just one false move and all of a sudden people are passing you. That happens with this game, but it is done a lot better. Like, there's very few cases where you really feel like you should have an insurmountable lead over everyone else. It always kind of feels like someone could just rush you and get ahead. Like, to the point where it's actually a surprise when you end up taking a blue shell and you manage to stay in first. Now, if there's one thing that I can complain about, it's that, like, the A, B, X, Y buttons, there's stuff mapped to them, but they're not very important. You know, it really kind of feels like I'm never actually going to use those buttons. Which, that's fine. The controls are tight enough as they are. It's just like, it feels like it doesn't really use the Wii U gamepad quite enough. But, I mean, I can kind of see how that's not that bad a thing, because there's also a multiplayer mode. So people can use a just normal Wiimote too. So, it's just kind of one of those iffy things. Now, in terms of the actual racing, it's all very dynamic. With this game, they included these anti-gravity sections where your vehicle just starts hovering, and those sections are very well done. You can drive along the walls to avoid certain obstacles. There's some sections where just the floor is gone, and you're driving up the walls to keep going. And it all just has this well-polished feel to it. And there's even this one thing that they added in for the anti-gravity sections, where if you crash into someone, both people get a speed boost. There's even these little pegs where if you hit them in anti-gravity mode, hover mode, however you want to refer to it, if you crash into them in that mode, you'll get a speed boost. That has the added benefit of forcing people to just, instead of going after other players, they have to focus on actually winning the race. Like, if you just try and run people off the road, when that happens, when you're in those sections, you're just going to end up speeding them up. And that is going to make it, it makes it a lot more difficult to just be aggressive. And, every track has multiple different paths you can go. And it kind of lets you enjoy the racing sections without turning off your brain. You have to actually really put a little thought into, okay, which way do I want to go to do this? What's this way? What's over here? Which way will actually help me? And, that is a really nice, well done touch. Now, one thing that really I cannot avoid talking about this, the graphics of this game are amazing. Like, it's so well polished, so well done, and this game actually runs at 60 frames per second, 1080p, and that level of quality really does show. Now, this game, it's not without its flaws. And the biggest flaw with this game is the difficulty. Going through it in single player mode is hard. Like, there's 50cc, 100cc, and 150cc. And 150cc has been referred to as Dark Souls on wheels. And I've seen my brother playing it. My brother plays it a lot more intense than I do. And I've seen my brother try playing it. And yeah, that's a pretty accurate description of it. And even in a few of the 100cc races I've done, there have been points where I just pause, quit. I'm just done at that point because I get stun locked by 5 different racers. There was one time I did a versus race against my brother, and I ended up taking about 5 to 10 shells in the first lap, and I was just like, okay, seriously, I'm spending more time stunned by these shells than I'm actually spending racing. I'm here in 12th because no one is leaving me alone. Like, there were a bunch of times in 100cc mode where I've basically been able to just put down the controller, because I went from like second. I was a little too close to the person in first place when they got hit with a blue shell, so I got caught in it too. Then I took a red shell, then I took a green shell, then I got hit with a bomb, then I got crashed into, then I took a red shell, and I just didn't even get a chance to do anything. And, other games, this isn't the only hard game out there, but this is one of those games where the difficulty really just kind of comes out of nowhere. It's like you're not ready for that level of difficulty when it happens, and it's like that level of difficulty just right out of nowhere like that really makes it a lot more difficult to enjoy what you're playing. Like I said, there were some points where I'm just like, okay, screw it, I quit, I'm done. And, this is supposed to be a lighthearted racing game. It's supposed to be a Mario Kart game, and, it's like, it leaves you with a sense of paranoia, because there is just some races where every other car just has it in for you, no matter what place you're in. But another issue that, me and my brother both kind of agree with this, some of the items are a little overpowered. Like, everyone talks about the blue shell when they talk about overpowered Mario Kart items, and we did notice that, like, the blue shell will still hit people, even if they're not first, as long as they're in the way. But there's this one item. I don't even know what it is, because no one in this house who has actually played the game has ever actually gotten this item. But it zaps everyone, and then shrinks everyone. So everyone's driving slower. It looks like it applies to everyone. Yeah, everyone's driving slower, and the initial zap stops you. So in a game where picking up acceleration and keeping track of your handling is so important, here's a weapon that just completely takes away all the speed you have just built up, and if it hits you at the wrong time, you're going to be taking a turn at just a slow crawl, or you're just going to lose control in the middle of a power slide and just go careening off the edge. And speaking of going off the edge, I encountered one little bug in the course Toad Harbor. There's this one section where you can go into anti-gravity mode and drive along a wall, and there has been a few times so far where I'm driving along the wall there because it's a good way to avoid everyone attacking you, and all of a sudden, the Lakitu cloud guy who pulls you back onto the track if you go off, all of a sudden he shows up and drags me off the wall back onto the track. Now, the sections where you can drive on the wall, you're still well in the track. It's still totally where you should be, but this thing took me off the wall and put me back down on the track, and when it does that, you lose all the speed you had. It takes a while to actually get it there, so it's just like there must have been just one section there where it marked me as having gone off the track. So, I mean, frankly, the amount of, I don't even know the right word for this, with how dynamic the anti-gravity sections make the races, the fact that I have only encountered one issue is really, that's just nothing short of impressive. With everything that they have done with this game and everything this game has contributed to the series, the fact that I've only come across one bug is still very impressive. But all in all, do I really need to say it? Pick up this game. Play it. You'll enjoy it. Like, coming from me, someone who doesn't really like racing games and who never really got into the Mario Kart games, pick up this game because you're gonna like it. It can be very difficult at times, but it's never, the more difficult it gets, the more rewarding it is when you finally just make it through. So, that's my review of Mario Kart 8. Next week, instead of doing a review, I will be doing an extended talk about E3. I don't know if it's still actually going on or if it just recently ended, but I'm thinking it's still happening right now, so I'm gonna wait until next week to actually talk about it. So stay tuned for that. This has been my review of Mario Kart 8. Keep enjoying the videos and subscribe to help this channel and see more.